everybody, welcome back. It's Mo again. Well, in this section, we're going to be looking at the storage types on a Cisco router. And what's this? So if I go back to my router, and let me go back to the CLI and log on, right? So EN is to switch from user mode to privilege mode. This is the enable secret, which is Cisco uppercase, right? So I have not saved the router. There's two things that I need to understand about the router's storage. There's one of them which is called the running config, which is really the RAM, what's running on the router right now. And then there's something called the startup config, which is the NVRAM, non-volatile RAM. The RAM, which means the running config, if I reset the router, reload the router, right, I would lose all the configuration if I don't save. The startup config stays into the router storage. Think about it as a small hard drive in the router. When I reload the router, restart the router, the information is still there. And until now, I have not saved anything to the router. Well, if I want to see what's running on the router right now, right, I type in show. All the show commands for now, we have to be in privilege mode, but then I could use something called the do command, and we'll see that's going to be super useful for us. So show space question mark, and I'm going to hit the space bar, and look, current what's running on the router is running config, and then there's the startup config is whatever is actually saved onto the router. So I could do show RUN, hit the tab key, show running config, and press enter, and it shows me what's on the router. Hostname R1, enable secret, I hit the space bar, nothing else is configured. The history size, as you see, or I could just do a shortcut, go run. So this displays what's actually in the RAM. If I do show startup config, nothing is there. Why? Nothing is actually stored or saved in the NVRAM itself, right? So if I don't want to save anything and I want to restart the router and I do a question mark, I have the option which is a reload. Control C, and I type in reload and I press enter. Do I want to save? No. All right, and press enter. And look, now it's loading the iOS, which is located in another storage that we're going to be mentioning, which is called the flash. It's a card that gets inserted into the router's slot itself. And if I go to physical and I zoom in, it should be in a slot right over here, your compact flash. CLI. See, it's like I lost everything. It's like, oh, you have to run everything again. So I'm going to press no. I don't want to do the setup mode. And this time I'm going to log in, global configuration mode, change the host name, and set up an enable secret. See, when I do ENA, why did it come up enable? I hit the tab key, S, hit the tab, and this time I'm going to use Cisco lowercase, and then press enter. Then I'm going to do Control Z. Now, if I want to save from the running config to the startup config, I use the copy command. Do I see the copy command in privilege mode? Yes, I do see the copy command. See that? So Control Z to get rid of the help, and I do copy space question mark. I'm going to copy from the running config to the startup config. So I can just do run space start and enter and leave the default file name, enter, or I could just call it router1 and then just press enter. Oh, something is wrong. Okay, so what I want to do, the startup config, copy run start, and then just leave it as it is because it's going to the startup config and press enter. Now I was able to save to the router itself, which means if I reload the router, forget about the uppercase, all right, enter, proceed, yes, this time I'm going to see my configuration because I did a copy run start. That's one way to save to the actual router's NVRAM and press enter. There you go. This is a good sign. All right, Cisco. Another way to save is using the write command. So if I ask for help, write. So WR write space question mark. If I just type in write memory, this is the same thing as copy run start. Or I could just do WR is a shortcut for this. So WR, memory, copy run start, they're all the same. So let's get used to what we're going to use the WR to save from the RAM to the NVRAM, as you see, right? Another storage location, which is where does the iOS, which is the operating system that is running right now on the router, where's it stored? In the flash. So if I type in show, flash, enter. I could see the iOS. It's always a binary file. See, C1900. This is a binary file. What else is actually in the flash? Your actual VLANs, if this was a switch. But for now on the router, it's only the iOS. So I could see what's actually there in the flash. So when I restart the router and it says decompressing the image, it's actually checking into the flash to locate an operating system, which is the iOS, and then it's going to load it. The next step is going to check the NVRAM. If there's a configuration file, which is a startup file, is going to load that for us too. If there's none, it's going to put us in setup mode, right? How about if I want to erase my configuration? I could do erase and then startup config or erase start and press enter. Do you want to delete? Yes. This is one way. Or I could do WR space erase. Remember, WR alone is actually saving to the NVRAM. You want to erase your router configuration, you do right erase. Enter. See, it's the same thing. Then I do a reload, enter, and confirm. So let's see right now. I should be losing every configuration at the moment. So whenever you're working with something, let's do the WR. Do WR. Save your configuration. See, everything is actually gone. So I'm going to press no. en config t host name R1. And then I'm going to do the enable secret, which is what? Cisco. Now, can I do WR from here? No. Can I do copy, run, start from here? No. So if you want to, instead of me going out, Control C to privilege mode, I could use the do command, do WR. See that? So the do command is very helpful. Instead of switching modes, I have to use a do command. But the problem is, if I do, for example, copy, run, start, enter. This is good. When I do the do command, I cannot ask for help. So you have to know what the command is. So what is the do command? The do command allows you to run the command no matter what mode you're in, but you have to know the actual command. All right. So that's what I want to show you. How can we save to the actual routers and VRAM? How can we erase the configuration? What's in the flash, which is your iOS? We're going to see the flash more and more. I just wanted to cover the storage that we have on the router. So the RAM is what's running right now. The NVRAM is the startup config. So if I do show start over here, watch this. It says you cannot do this. Do show start. And I can see what's saved into the NVRAM. Do show run. I can see what's running on the router. You see this? So the do command is so perfect to actually work with. That's what I wanted to show you in this lecture, and we will continue our interesting journey in our next lecture. Bye now.